How we doing, everyone? And welcome back to another edition of the FSI's PGA DFS Pick Show. I'm your host, TK Nation 47, joined by John Cool 19. John, how was last week? And did the John Deere Classic bring you any fortune? And are you ready for our final major of the year?
I am super pumped for the major. John Deere Classic was actually super good for me. I didn't hit any jackpots, but 6 out of 6 in cash. I actually had like almost 40% of my lines were 6 out of 6. We were on a ton of good golfers, so I was really excited. Really, the weekend was just kind of seeing how much money I would make. It wasn't an amazing week, but I played late and more than doubled my money, so happy there. I think that is a 3-week streak here for cash as well. I'm going to continue it this week. Really excited. I think we get a pretty good edge this week, as the Open brings a lot of players that people don't know about. Your common DFS player doesn't know about a lot of these Euro guys that are in the field. I think that gives us a distinct advantage. We're not looking at course history, so kind of throw that out. And there's just a lot to like about this week going in. How about you? Did you play well in John Deere, and what are you looking forward to this week?
See, I was the complete opposite of you for the John Deere. I had 4 of 6s pretty much littered everywhere, but my 6 of 6 that I did have was really close to the GPP takedown. When it came time to the bonuses for all rounds under 70, I just started rocketing up the leaderboard, and I finished 4th in what we know as the PME Open, the Pat Mayo Open, where it's the no rake tournament that he provides for us. And big shout out to him for that. That was a good $750 rolling into a major. We have the Open Championship, our 4th major of the year. No preview this week. A lot going on, grinding down to the end of the year. Totally understandable. So what should we expect for this week, and what does the Open Championship normally look like?
Sure. So we're expecting links style golf. This is very different than what we see week to week on the PGA Tour. First of all, once you play a links course, if the weather kicks up, expect absolute carnage. Looking at the early weather, Thursday and Friday look pretty nasty. Personally, I'm expecting to see the winner come in maybe around 10 under, give or take here, just kind of depending on the weekend weather, how that goes. All the golfers are going off on the first tee box, so certainly weather can change drastically in just a couple hours, and we could see some huge wave advantage for the golfers who tee off either early or late or right in the middle of the day. Who knows at this exact moment, but we will keep a close eye. The nice thing with lock being around midnight my time is really you can look at weather about a half hour in advance and be able to make some final last minute decisions if you feel the need to do any wave stacking. We'll have all of that in our Discord chat discussing what we think is going to be the best way to attack, whether it's round 1 showdown or the classic slate as well. But yeah, this is a very tough track. We're going to see a lot of golfers with some really high scores. You're going to have a few golfers who are 3-4 over par the first day, and they are going to be just fine for the rest of the week. Not our normal attitude about guys who take off with a bad start. So again, links style course, there's fescue grass, there is tons of undulation on this course. It is very different. So as far as comp courses go, really we're looking at other Euro Tour events for the most part. Very few things that you would consider a link style course in America, and certainly not any of the natural stops on the PGA Tour. We're looking at former Open Championship courses as well. We're going to heavily weight what golfers have done in majors, in the Open Championship, and on some of these Euro track courses, the link style courses that these guys play. I think last week is an example. You and I were talking that, the weather didn't pick up last week. It was a similar style course, but then it was kind of a birdie fest. We're not going to see that this week. Expect carnage for a lot of golfers, but don't panic if your guy starts off 3 over par, finishes at 4 over par after day 1. He might be just fine with that going into the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely what to expect this week as we get into England, where the wind is considerably consistent. And I definitely looked at some old Open form in my picks and in my player pool. Really excited for this week. I like the Open Championship because I'm a guy that likes to stay up late, and I'm a guy that also wakes up early. So I'm always in the sweet spot here for a lot of viewing for the Open Championship. And who doesn't like getting done with the round at like 2 p.m, and then they got the whole rest of their night to do what they want to. That's just perfect. So I'm excited, and I'm ready to jump into some picks. We got our favorites here. I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay at 8,900. Kind of a similar kind of a value in a way that it is my favorite. Usually you want to pick a stud. I think we all know that, John Rahm and Jordan Spieth are going to be excellent plays. There's guys up there that I'm certainly going to have in my pool. But when it came down to it, Patrick Cantlay stuck out at 8,900 as a favorite because I have the reason to believe he's going to be one of my highest owned plays at that price. He's in excellent form. He plays well in the wind. He's coming in with a third. He's third in the model, first in bogey avoidance, second in par fours from 400, 450, 13th at the Travelers, 15th at the U.S. Open. He won the Memorial. I mean, you could say he was second in that event with the John Rahm COVID news, but still, he was in the top 5. 23rd at the PGA Championship. He's just in blistering form, and then all those trends that we see for the Open Championship winner, you usually have a guy that's in good form when he comes in to win. 41st in 2019 at Portrush, and then he finished 12th in 2018. So he has a little bit of form. I like him 30-1. I'm going to bet it tomorrow before the round. So I'm excited for Patrick Cantlay. How do you like Patrick this week, and who do you got for your favorite?
Sure. I'll just start with Patrick Cantlay as one of my short list here for one and done this week. I think he's an excellent outright bet. I'll get into a little more on him later. But for me, my top play here, Brooks Koepka, he is just an absolute killer when it comes to the majors. I basically play him every single time I get the chance at the majors here. He is also on my short list here for a one and done choice this week. Looking at his form, he isn't necessarily going to make every single cut. He has been outspoken about he doesn't always prepare the same way, and he's not always mentally there for some of the smaller events, but he absolutely is prepared and ready to go for this week's Open Championship. So he's just made 6 out of his last 10 cuts. I'm not concerned about that at all. But of those 6, 5 of them were top 5 finishes, and that includes at the U.S. Open, he was 4th. The PGA Championship, he was 2nd. Yes, he did miss the cut at the Masters, so that is a major. I'll take that ding, but I don't think that course is nearly the same setup here that we're going to see this week. I think he's going to excel once again. He also won Waste Management earlier this year. His Open Championship history, he has made 5 out of 6 cuts. 3 of those were top 10 finishes, and he was 4th in 2019. For him, the recent ball striking, just the last handful of tournaments, he has been excellent ball striking, both approach and off the tee. The accuracy has been a little bit suspect lately, and you and I have been talking about it. That off the tee is really important this week, not so much just the driving distance, but that accuracy. If you're missing the fairways here, you're getting in a ton of trouble really, really quick. Instead of it going fairway, then rough you can hit out of, and then some OB, it's fairway, tiny rough, then fescue, and then sand. It is a mess out there. But I think Brooks Koepka will be able to overcome that this week. His last 50 rounds, he comes in 7th greens in regulation, 3rd on approach, and he is also top 10 bogey avoidance, something I'm looking at pretty critically this week since we know we're going to see some big numbers. I want guys who are avoiding the bogeys when they can, but certainly avoiding double bogey and worse. Brooks rates out really, really well there. So I'm going to hammer Brooks on DraftKings this week.
Absolutely. Brooks is a very good play this week. Getting a lot of talk in the media about, his continued rivalry and his continued success in majors. He's been all over the Twitter feed, and I'm certainly going to be in my lineups as well. Who doesn't like Brooks in majors? He's been fantastic. I'm glad you mentioned him for us today. Next up, we have some value plays. I'm going to go with Robert McIntyre as my low 7K guy, 70-1. He's probably not a good outright bet. He is a young Euro star. He has a lot to learn about winning, and especially winning majors. But I do think that's going to be something he's going to be pretty good for making the cut at the Open Championship. If you can hear the thunder going on in the background, that's stay with me if we might lose power. But yeah, Robbie McIntyre, he's a good play this week for DraftKings purposes, I think, and 35th at the U.S. Open, so he has some major form. 49th in the PGA, 12th at the Masters, so there's another major that he came and showed up for. He played really well last week, 18th at the Scottish Open, and he also played well at the British Masters. That was, of course, in England, so he has that history to go off of. I really like Bobby Mack. Next up, I have Tommy Fleetwood at 40-1. I don't really like this outright bet, but I do like him on DraftKings. I think he's too cheap. Really good form, great short game. 50 at the U.S. Open, 35th at the Palmetto. The Palmetto was an interesting event, kind of similar to the the PGA Championship, and that same coastal sand, waste bunker kind of setup is something we're going to see for this course. Maybe not like the palm trees or anything, but that accuracy is going to be vital, and Tommy provides a lot of that. He was second in Portrush in 2019, 12th in 2018, and 27th in 2017 at the Open Championship. I really like Tommy this week. What are your thoughts on these two Euro guys, and who you got for some value?
Yeah, I think mentioning Robert McIntyre here, he falls into the category I kind of hinted on. Euro Tour guys. Yeah, he's played some in the US too, but guys that are more common on the Euro Tour that have had some success, even if they're not winning every week. I think the price tag is great on him. I think he is an excellent top 20 or top 30 bet. Really, even Tommy Fleetwood, same thing, top 20 bet. I think that's an awesome option here. I agree with you completely. I wouldn't bet Fleetwood outright, but he will find his way into some of my DraftKings lineups, just like Bobby McIntyre here as well. So I like both of those. For me, going with some value, I'm going to start Patrick Cantlay. You had him as a favorite. I'm going to put him here as a value play. I think the price is too low on him. 30-1 odds, I think, is really, really good for that outright bet. You kind of hinted on it. The form is absolutely excellent. His last four events, 13th, 15th, 1st, and 23rd. I like that a lot coming in. If we look at past winners, they've all had some success kind of leading right into the Open Championship. He's got a couple wins on the season as well. Not many golfers can say that right now. Another guy that I'll be talking about in a few minutes can say that, but Patrick Cantlay is multiple winner this season. His last 50 rounds, he is 9th in scrambling, 25th approach, 6th around the greens, and number 1 avoiding bogeys. I like that a lot. Also number 6 off the tee. So a lot to like here. He's going to be good off the tee, good on approach, good around the greens. Really, he's an all-around player. I like it a lot here. He is also just looking at putting too. Last 100 rounds, he is 18th in this field on bent grass green. So really, we're talking tee to green and putting. He's going to get it all done. I like him a ton. He will find his way into a bunch of my lineups, even paired with Brooks up top. And I know we can find some guys lower down. Specifically for me, Sam Burns. He's been, ever since the pricing came out, people have been talking about it. This is just a misprice, in my opinion, by DraftKings. Realistically, he should be a lot higher. If you're looking at the price plays, he is the 42nd best odds to win in this event, and he is 114th price. That is insane. He really should be like 7,200, somewhere in there. That's really all the guys that are similar to him at 90-1 odds. They're right around that $7,200 mark. That is some awesome savings. He is certainly in contention as a cash play this week. I think that the field is going to go pretty heavy on Sam Burns. It's going to be very popular. And for that, I think that kind of protects you in cash at this price. Yeah, I don't love playing chalk cash in the 6K range, but at this price, I think you're kind of protected a bit. You can get away with it even if he misses the cut, but he's at 30% owned. All right, you still need to do a little bit of work with your other 5 golfers, but you can get away with it. He's been really good on approach as well. I like his recent success, 13th at the Valspar. That was his last event. Also in his last 10 events, he was 3rd at Genesis, 2nd at Byron Nelson, and he won the Valspar. So talk about good form. Sam Burns falls into that. I have no idea what DraftKings was thinking here with the pricing. Just a miss.
I wonder if they would. I think they made the pricing before the Scottish Open. He played last week at the Scottish Open. He was 18th. So if they would have held off, they probably wouldn't have him down here at 6,300. I noticed that stuck out when I was going through the pricing as well. But yeah, we have some good value picks here. I just wanted to give a quick shout out about Ian Poulter. He's coming in with 5 straight made cuts, and he played well at the Scottish Open. I believe he came in 4th. He has a lot of top 25s and a 40th at the US Open. Just wanted to throw a quick little shout out to Pultz. He's a favorite of mine every time we step here for Open Championship. He was on a short list. But let's get into some sleepers. My sleeper this week is a extreme long shot, but a guy that won the Porsche Open. And this was an event in Germany that had a ton of weather and a ton of wind. And he came out on top on like a Monday finish because of how bad the weather was. And he's really long off the tee. He's a young English guy. I'm not sure if he's local, but I'm pretty sure he's not too far away from where this event's played. So I really like I can't pronounce it. Marcus Armitage. I think that's how you pronounce it, but he's a guy I'm willing to roll the dice on for a top 20 and some DraftKings GPP play. Maybe a little pivot off of Burns if you like.
Sure.
But there is another favorite on the slide. Who you got for yours?
Yeah, you talked about having some pivot. I think if you were talking tournaments here, whether it's Marcus or another golfer in that range, if you can get away from Burns, and really I think Daniel Berger probably falls into that. He's just in the low 7Ks. I think he'll likely be pretty popular as well. Those are some excellent leverage options if you're playing in tournaments. I could see myself doing a full fade on Burns in tournaments and having him in my cash lineup where the majority of my money is going to be, and being absolutely okay with that. So that's just certainly something to think about as you're building lineups and what kind of contests you're playing. But for me here in the sleepers, I'm going Stewart Cink. I think there's a lot to like about him. 6,900 on DraftKings, 110-1 odds to win. He is another golfer who has multiple wins this season. You had talked about a cut made streak. He is currently at 8 cuts in a row made. The only golfers with more cuts made in a row right now on tour, or I should say at least in this event, Charlie Hoffman, Spieth, Oosthuizen, Lowry, and Just Luton, and Bezuidenhout as well. Those are the only golfers who have made more cuts than Stewart Cink in a row right now. He's got a couple top 10s at the Masters. He's got top 10 at the PGA Championship. He also has a top 10 at this Open Championship. So he's had success at all the majors so far in his career. His Open Championship history, 6 out of 8 cuts. 5 of those were top 26 finishes, and his best was in 2007. That was a 6th place finish. He comes in with playing well on approach as well as his greens and regulation. If he can get the putter going just a little bit this week, I think he has an excellent chance. I would be very, very interested in Stewart Cink as a top 20 bet. Don't know if he's got what it takes to win in this field, but on DraftKings, I'm going to play a lot of Stewart Cink this week. I think he's not going to be super owned either, so I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like Stewart Cink too. Am I positive? Did he win the Open when Tom Watson was about to win at the Old Course? Wasn't it him that won that event?
Or
was that
possible.
Phil?
I didn't have that in my history on Fantasy National, but they only go back so many years, so it's possible it wasn't him.
Yeah, that was maybe almost a decade. It could have been him or Bill Haas. I know it was one of them too, but I'm pretty sure he's won an Open Championship. I like Stewart Cink a lot this week. He's definitely in my pool.
Lots of success at majors for him. So
he's already in that form we wanted to see this year. So all over that as well. I love it. Let's get into some one and dones. I'm pretty sure you're still doing fairly well. I did not. I nailed that winner with John Rahm, and I kind of haven't done anything since. Daniel Berger, I kind of took a shot in the dark with one of my last, few remaining studs, hoping that he would lap the field as the big favorite, but he kind of came up lame. But I'm going with Justin Thomas this week. He is kind of like one of the last bullets I have, and if I'm gonna make any kind of noise, I'm gonna need to win I'm gonna have to win this major. So I'm hoping JT is one of my studs, can finish it out with a victory here. He's got 7th in approach, and he's really good on bogey avoidance, 4th. I'd like to see the short game numbers be a little better, but he's a guy that when he gets hot, he can win, and why not? I need the win, so go sure. JT.
And JT, we spoke about it earlier, if we're looking at links style courses, JT rates out really well, although he has not played a ton of events, but the events he's had some pretty good success. So I like the JT pick. I'm going to be playing him on DraftKings as well. I think the price is excellent for really one of the top 5 or so golfers in the world. He is not priced in the top 5. So I will take that discount, Justin Thomas. But for me, one and done, I just got to go Brooks Koepka here. It's the last major of the year. I'm going to save Cantlay for one of these final events, likely one of the first 2 playoff events. I thought about him here, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Brooks Koepka unless I get really cold feet on Wednesday afternoon or something. But I like Brooks just way too much. All the narrative here for the major killer. Give me that. And yeah, I've been just kind of treading water in the money here for the last couple of weeks. Hopefully I get another spike here this week. I'd love to jump into that top 150 or so and make some of the bigger money.
Absolutely. So yeah, that'll wrap things up for one and done. And John, do you have anything else to add for the Open Championship?
No, I think that's about it. I think, again, putting some effort into looking at these Euro Tour golfers, a lot of them are really mildly priced. We hit on just a couple of them here today in this show, but we'll be talking about a bunch more of them in our Discord chat. There's more guys that we found that we really do like, especially at their price. Certainly not enough time here to jam them into a pick show, but if you can join us in the Discord, we've got some awesome chat going on. It's been going on all day with guys we like, guys we don't like, some good fade options, ownership projections. So I think that there's a whole lot to still learn here in the next day or so to get prepared.
Absolutely. And you can find that link for the bio on our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. You can follow me at TK Nation. You can follow John at JohnCool19. Everybody enjoy the Open Championship. There is going to be a couple of showdown videos this weekend, so stay tuned for that on our YouTube channel, Fantasy Sports Insight. Again, guys, join us in the Discord and get to these golfers that you need to know to make the monies, the $1 million monies this week. So, John, good luck this week, and good luck to all of you out there. See ya.
Sweet. Let's have a good week.